layout is a very narrow market segment, a single piece production. Function layout is narrow market plus differentiation about different areas, a few similar products, and maybe a series of production. And then the line layout is a wide market segment at low costs, many similar products, and mass production. So we sort of have a look at this, the different things here. If we look at the position layout, it's very narrow market segment, a single piece of production or non-removable main component. A layout which all machines and processes involved are grouped around the same position. And this could be like sort of a dockyard on a ship where we're stationary around the ship and we build it. And so all the machines move around the ship. The actual product doesn't actually move until, in this case, we sort of fill up the dry dock, as it's called, with water, and it's actually sailed out. So that's sort of one thing we can look at, and this doesn't really apply to us at the moment. The next one could be sort of the function layout, a narrow segment, market segment with sort of some sort of differences in products. Not many similar products, and it's a series what we sort of produce. A function layout is a layout which all machines and processes of the same type are grouped together. And I think you've seen some photos or videos from the trip from the third semester from this BM building industry, and they made wooden elements for buildings. This could be something we could use here, this system. And if we look at this function layout, just let me go to full screen here. We get to look at this sort of quick sketch, and this is actually something maybe that you could start with, or I hope you could sort of start with today. Maybe not as in depth, but here we have sort of the delivery of materials where come into the factory, and there could be a crane here or whatever, and then it could be sort of maybe gas storage here. Crane as well, there's onto cutting boards and so on. And this is the flow in through the factory. What happens? One thing and another. And this is what you need to think about. Okay, when do we paint it? One thing and another, mounting and gluing, all of the different things we need to do in our production line. So this is what you sort of can look at in the sense of your element that you're going to sort of produce in the factory. It seems, if I'm sort of honest, it seems a little bit cramped, but there again, it sort of depends on the size of the element that you're actually working with. That's also important to take into consideration. How easy are they to move around one way or another? So and then the production line planning, it's sort of this wide market segment at a low cost and many similar products and a mass production. A line layout is which all machines and processes are grouped in order, like the order of operation. And this could be the car plant system, but it also could be something like hollow core elements, the data elements as well. That's more this sort of the line layout system. It's a little bit difficult to sort of move one way or another. So when we're sort of looking at planning here, what we have to consider when planning the production layout is which process must the product go through, the flow in the production. What about quality control? What about raw materials? What about stock? How do we make sure that we're implementing quality materials into our product? What happens with the raw materials? How are they actually transported into brought into the factory in one way or another? Do they need to be stored? Do we need to have a large um, area where we need to sort of store or not, or one thing, or do we just, as we saw before, use it or order as we need it? And the stock itself, yeah, how much and when? Remember the supporting activities as well and the connection between these and the production. This is also important because your factory has to function. And of course, you're going to need a canteen, you're going to need some toilets, and all of these sort of the things that things you need when you're at work. That's actually important. You're going to need the canteen, toilets. You're going to need some offices for management or for the site manager or whatever, things like this. And the production layout must demonstrate your thoughts, not the construction principles. Okay, so think about the flow of the actual element and the process and how you see it can actually done in the factory. The flow of the material through the factory and between the production processes is also a significant factor in the choice of your layout. The main flow of material through the factory can be planned accordingly to different principles that we've also looked at, but it also depends on the situation and the layout and the different stations, sorry, and then not the situation, the stations and the layout. And in case of a functional layout, the main flow of material will simply be provided with some more or less regular loops. So it's sort of, once you get there, it could sort of go around where it's, if it built up in different layers, it could sort of so do this sort of loop action in the factory. If we have sort of the flow, we have the I shaped flow here, where we actually sort of come in and it's processed. We also have the U shape where the materials come in and when sort of processed here, and then it leaves the factory. Or it also could be sort of the S shape where it comes in and sort of, yeah. This is where you need to think about, okay, what is my goal for what product am I looking at? Is it wooden, concrete, metal, whatever? This is where you need to sit back and just think, use some time yourself and also with your group as well. It's important to hear different people's opinion about your thoughts, because that's where you can sort of optimize the thoughts that you've actually had. So it's also about knowledge sharing as well. And this is actually from the original Toyota factory here that you can see. It's, yeah, which I think their system is actually a very good system. And if we sort of look at your factory, show the flow in the factory with arrows. This probably requires a little analysis. Flow, what processes are involved in your production, what dependencies do you have on your processes, what needs to be done before your element can move on and onto the next stage. Is the element moving in the factory, or is it the workers that are moving around the element? Also an important thing to think about. You should now be ready to create a network or a flowchart for the factory. Use or don't use these arguments. That's up to you. This is just the beginning. We'll look at information next time and what's happening at the station. Remember, we need clear production drawings disputes in each station. Maybe even mark where there must be some quality control in the production, and also information from the location is presenting. And here we have sort of a layout here of a factory one way where if I try to zoom in a little bit here, a little bit too much. We can see here where the actual materials come in here, and then goes through the factory to the station number 2, 3, number 4, 5, 6, and so on. And also, as I talked about before, in one end in the factory here, this is a small PC. This is offices where the changing room, toilet, other toilets here, and then again a small storage space. So you need to sort of think about what do I need in my factory. So if I go back is essentially this lecture. So what I like to do, what you do now is just sort of take a little bit of time, think about what talk about, and sort of discuss it with your other group members. And then we can sort of look at sort of the idea, what they're actually producing, and think about this the new aspects in how you implement into your factory. It's just hard to sort of make a few sketches and ideas about how you see this could function for your element. And then I'll actually try and find I have a link for a factory that we visited. I visited a few years ago, but I'll try and find the link and get back to that. Get back to you on that one later. So please just download the file, read through the different slides again, and start to talk with your group members. We're going to start to sketch, and I'll get back to you in 10 minutes or so. But the rest of the time today is actually sort of project time, so I expect that you sort of working sort of on the project at the moment. From the stage where you are. So I'll be back with another thing if I can find it in a few moments, okay?